So this is the review for your next test, which is 4-3. So let's take a look at the first one. It says find to the nearest hundredth where f of x equals g of x. And we have f of x equals 4 times x minus 5 squared plus 1. And g of x is equal to 2x minus 1. So again, we want to find where they are equal to each other. And it's really saying where y equals y. Okay, so you want to set them equal to each other, f of x and g of x. So you want to take f of x, which is 4 times x minus 5 squared plus 1, and equal it to the square root of 2x minus 1. Now, this would be too hard to solve algebraically, and I didn't tell you how to solve it algebraically, so the best thing to do is to graph it on the graphing calculator, and then we'll figure out where they cross on the graphing calculator. So we'll put them into y equals, put one into y1, put the other one into y2, and when you graph f of x, you get a parabola. It looks something like this. And then when you graph the radical equation, it looks something like this. And we want to find where they intersect. We want to find these 2 points here. All right, so on your calculator, you hit second trace, which is the calc button, number 5, which is intersect. All right, move the cursor so that it's close to the curve, the point you're trying to find. So, like when I did mine, my cursor was very high. And I knew that because I looked at the y value, because the y value was very high there. All right, so you get your cursor so that you can see your cursor. My cursor is blinking right here right now. So I want to get it close to the point and then hit enter. And then it automatically jumps to the second curve, hit enter. And you want the calculator to guess. So that point of intersection, and we're only looking for the x value because I'm looking to see where the y values are equal. And this says round to nearest hundredth. So one of them is x equals 4.33. All right, now I have to do this one over here, the one on the right. So again, you do second calc, number 5, which is intersect. Move the cursor so now that it's close to the point over here, hit enter. It automatically jumps to the second curve, so hit enter. And you want it to guess, and the other point, the x value is 5.75. That's rounded to the nearest hundredth. Okay, so let's take a look at number 2. Let me get rid of this. Okay, so number 2 says, Sean's doing a card trick using a standard deck of cards. You win if an ace of diamonds or a king of hearts is drawn. What is the probability you win? Justify your answer. All right, so how many diamonds are aces, or how many aces are diamonds? All right, so there's only one ace, right? So there's one ace of diamonds. So if you want to draw a diamond like that. And how many king of hearts are there? There's one king of hearts. Remember, there's one of each suit, and there's 4 suits. So that's 2 out of a total of 52 cards. Okay, because really what you're doing, it's 1 out of 52 for your ace, plus 1 out of 52 for your king. And that comes out to be 2 out of 52. All right, so let's take a look at number 3. All right, number 3 says determine the end behavior. So you plug this into your calculator. Remember, we're looking for what's happening at the ends of the graph. All right, so take the first one, negative, go into y equals, type in negative x squared minus 2x plus 1, hit graph. Draw a little sketch if you want. All right, so it looks like this, the parabola. Looks something like this. All right, so I want the end behavior. So as x goes to negative infinity, I always go to the left first. You want to know, where does your y value go? Where does f of x go? Well, your graph is going down, so it's going to negative infinity. As x goes to the right, so if it's going to the right, it's going to positive infinity. Your y values are going down, so f of x is also going to negative infinity. So it's a down-down graph. That's what it means. All right, so let's graph the next one. So go into y equals, clear out what you have in there, and type in x to the third minus x plus 3. Hit graph. All right, so my graph looks like this. It's up, down a little bit, and up like this. Okay, so we're going to start going to the left. As x goes to negative infinity, right? As x goes that way, your y values are going down. So f of x also goes to negative infinity. Now go to the right side. As x goes to the right, it's going to positive infinity. Your y values are going up, so they're going to positive infinity. All right, so let's take a look at number 4. Okay, so number 4 says, given the mean of a test is 74 and the standard deviation, so you know I like to write that down. So the mean is 74 and the standard deviation, so I know why my stylus is not working. And the standard deviation is 8. Find to the nearest percent the scores that lie between 65 and 68. So I draw my picture, right? I want 74 in the middle. I want between 65, which is to the left over here, and 85. And I want the percent in between. So we're going to use normal CDF. So you hit second vars, number 2. My lower number will be 65. My upper number will be 85. My mean is 74. That's my mu. And the standard deviation is 8. Paste it. Write down normal CDF, because remember that's what I said to do for your work. Normal CDF. And 65, 85, 74, and 8. And paste that. And it's approximately 78.5%. All right, so let's take a look at number 5. All right, so this is the regression. A population So a population of single-celled organisms was grown in a petri dish over a period of 16 hours. The number of organisms at any given time is recorded in the table below. So we have hours starting at 0, and we have the number of organisms. That's the y value. Determine the exponential regression. So there's what's telling me what regression. Equation for this model of data, rounding all values to the nearest 10,000th. All right, so let's first plug it into the calculator. So you hit stat. Go into edit. So in L1, you're going to put your x values. So it's 0, 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, and 16. In the y column, you're going to, in L2, you're going to put your y values. So 25, 36, 52, 68, 85, 104, 142, and 260. Okay, then go to stat. Calc, we're looking for, it says we want an exponential regression, so that would be number 10, or 0 actually. It says EXP regression. Okay, so you press that, the 0, exponential regression, and scroll through. Make sure you have your L1, L2 in there, and list 1 for the X list, and list 2 for the Y list. Okay, first you write down your screen. Remember, that's always the first thing we do. Write down your screen. So I have the model first. So I have y equals ab to the x power. A is 27.2025115. B is equal to 1.150873339. R squared is 0.9935930782. And R is 0.99679139115. Remember, that number is really close to 1, so that means it's almost a perfect exponential. All right, so now I'm going to plug in my values, round into the nearest 10,000ths. That's 4 decimal places. So now this is where I round. So it's going to be y equals, so write your A, so it's 27.2025 times 1.1509 to the x power. All right, next it says, so I'm just going to move some stuff around here. So next it says, use this equation to predict the number of organisms to the nearest whole number in the 18th hour. Now remember, our hours was x. So I want to know when x is equal to 18, what is my number of organisms? What's y equal to? All right, so y equals 27.2025 times 1.1509 to the 18th power. So use your calculator, type it in, 27.2025 times 1.1509 to the 18th power, and we're going to round to the nearest organism, which is 341 organisms. Okay, so the next part says, when to the nearest tenth of an hour. So now I'm solving for x, because that's my time. Will there be 72 organisms? All right, so now I want to know what is x. What does x equal when my number of organisms, which is y, is 72? All right, so I'm using this equation here. Y is 72 equals 27.2025 times 1.1509 to the x power. Okay, so let's get started. So this is solving exponential. You guys should be pros at this. All right, so we're going to divide by 27.2025. All right, so type in your calculator. 72 divided by 27.2025. You get 2.64681555 equals 1.1509 to the x power. And now you log both sides. So it's log 2.64681555 equals x log 1.1509. Divide both sides by log 1.1509. All right, so let's plug it into the calculator. So we have log 2.64681555 divided by log 1.1509. And we are going to round to the nearest tenth of an hour because that's what it says to do. So we have x is equal to 6.9 hours. Okay, so let's take a look at number 6. Let me just clear up this page here. And we're going on to actually the next page. Okay, so let's take a look at number 6, which is determine the amplitude, the period, the midline, and the range. Okay, so let's start with the amplitude. The amplitude is the absolute value of 15, which is equal to 15. The period is 2 pi over b, so it's 2 pi over, your b is 2/3. So I would just plug this into the calculator without the pi, and then you put the pi in at the end, so it'd be 3 pi. Your midline is y equals negative 5.5. To get your range, you do the midline, negative 5.5 plus the amplitude, midline minus the amplitude. So negative 5.5 plus 15 is 20.5. Oh, no, I'm sorry. Negative 5.5 is not 20.5. That is 9.5. And negative 5.5 minus 15 is negative 20.5. So your range is from negative 20.5, sorry, and that should be a bracket, not a parentheses, comma 9.5 bracket. Okay, and the last part of it was to find f of 0. So f of 0, remember, if this is your input, your x is 0. So plug it into the equation. So it's 15 cosine 2/3 times 0 minus 5.5. And just plug that into the calculator. Type in 15 cosine 2/3 times 0 minus 5.5. And your answer is, so f of 0 is 9.5. Okay, so let's look at the next one. All right, number 7. All right, so number 7 is, given the mean and the standard deviation of a standardized test exam, find the plausible interval containing 95% of the data. And for part B, we want to know, is it reasonable that someone scores a 135? Okay, so remember, the first, how to do this is, you do the mean plus the margin of error, and the mean minus the margin of error. Now remember, the margin of error is equal to 2 standard deviations. Okay, so for A, you're going to find the margin of error, which is 2 times 3, which is 6. So it's going to be 65 minus 6, which is 59. 65 plus 6, which is 71. So your interval of plausible values is 59 to 71. You put it in an interval because it says, right, what's the interval? All right, so now let's do the same thing for B. So we find the margin of error, which is 2 standard deviations. So margin of error is equal to 2 times 4.7, which is 9.4. So it's going to be 121 plus 9.4, 121 minus 9.4. So 121 plus 9.4 is 130.4. And 121 minus 9.4 is 111.6. So the interval is from 111.6 to 130.4. So now the question is 135 reasonable that a student scores 135? And the answer is no, because 135 is not in the interval. Okay? All right, so let's take a look at the next one, number 8. Let me clean this up here. All right, so number 8 says, is x plus 4 a factor of this? All right, so if it is a factor, right, think about when we factor something. When we factor something at the end, we do our t-chart, and we would write x is equal to negative 4. And what that means is when we do f of negative 4, I should get 0 as an answer. All right, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to plug in negative 4 into the equation for x. So it's negative 4 squared plus 3 times negative 4 to the third minus 6 times negative 4 squared minus 6 times negative 4 plus 8. So just plug that in the calculator, plug it in all at one time, and when we plug it in, this actually comes out to be 0. So that means this is a factor. All right, so let's take a look at number 9, which is a blast from the past because it's the equation for the parabola. All right, so the first one, A, I'll give you the vertex is 3, negative 5. And the directrix is y is equal to negative 7. All right, so let's draw a little picture here. So 1, 2, 3, negative 5. There's 3. All right, so my vertex is right here at 3, negative 5. My directrix is y is equal to negative 7. So your focus, remember, so your vertex actually is right in between your directrix and your vertex is in between the directrix and the focus. So if this is 2 units, then my focus is up 2 units. So my focus is up 2 units right here. So my focus is 3, 3. Okay? So this is focus. All right, now we want to come up with the equation. Now remember, the model for the equation is x minus h squared equals 4p times y minus k. hk is the vertex. So I'm starting off by x minus 3 squared minus 4 times p. I'm going to get that. I didn't get that yet. And y plus 5, right? Because remember, we changed the signs because I have a negative here, so it makes it a positive. Now remember, p is your distance, and it has to be in this order, from vertex to focus. So from vertex to focus, my p is equal to positive 2. And the reason why it's positive 2 is because it's going up. If it was going down, it would be negative. So now we just clean this up. So it's x minus 3 squared equals 8 times y plus 5. All right, that was A. All right, let's take a look at B. B, you have the equation. The equation is x plus 6 squared equals negative 4 times y minus 1. All right, so remember, HK is the vertex, but remember, you have to change the signs. So the vertex is negative 6, positive 1. That, negative 4, remember, that represents 4p. So 4p equals negative 4. Divide by 4. P is equal to negative 1, which means, remember, vertex to focus is down 1 unit. All right, that's what the negative means, to go down. Let's draw a picture. So I have negative 6, 1. That's my vertex. My focus is down 1 unit. So this will be my focus. So my focus is going to be, let's see, negative 6, 0. Your directrix is in the other direction. Your directrix then is up 1. Because remember, your vertex has to be right smack in between. So your directrix has to be up here. So the directrix is y equals 2. And it has to be y equals. Okay, so let's take a look at number 10. Let me clean this up. Okay, so number 10. So this should be familiar. It is the half-life formula. So it's 100 equals 520 times 1/2 to the 4 over h power. We're solving for h. All right, so let me just write this down. So we have 100 equals 520 times 1/2. If you don't like using 1/2, the fraction, make it a 0.5. 4 over h. Now remember, 4 over h, that's an exponent. So you cannot subtract 520. You have to divide by 520. All right, so use your calculator. Do 100 divided by 520. And you get a nice decimal, .1923076923 equals, I'm going to change my half to 0.5 to the 4 over h power. Now I'm going to use logs. So it's log 0.1923076.923 equals, exponent goes in front of the log, 4 over h log 0.5. You should all know what to do from here. Divide by log 0.5. So I get 4 over h equals, so type it in, so it's log of that decimal divided by log 0.5. I got 2.378511623. So since my h is in the denominator, I'm going to put this over 1 and cross multiply. So I have 2.378511623, h equals 4. Remember, I'm solving for h, so divide both sides by 2.378511623. 2.378511623. So it's 4, put in your calculator, divided by that decimal. And we're going to round to the nearest thousandth. That's 3 decimal places, 1.682. All right, so let's take a look at the last problem. I know you guys are getting really good at these, the growth and decay. All right, it says a total of $2,000 is invested in an annual interest rate of 4%. Determine the equation that would be used to find the amount of investment after T years if it is compounded semi-annually. All right, so first let's write the equation. Since it's compound interest, so it's A equals P times 1 plus R over N raised to the NT power. Not N over T, just NT. To the NT power. All right, so his investment is $2,000. So it's 1 plus, your rate is 4%, so it's 0.04. Remember, N is the number of times it's compounded. If it says semi-annually, that means twice a year. So to the 2t power. So that's my formula for this. So what I'm going to do is plug in the parentheses so I don't have to keep writing it like that. So I'm going to type in 1 plus 0.04 divided by 2. So now I'm going to use this. 2a equals 2,000 times 1.02 to the 2t power. All right, so now let's see what it says. How much money will she have in the account after 4 years? So they give me time, and I want to find A. So A equals 2,000 times 1.02 to 2 times 4 power. So just plug that in your calculator. So it's 2,000 times 1.02 raised to the 2 times 4 or 8. And you should be rounding this to the nearest cent. So it's $2,343.32. Next part. How long will it take? So that when it says how long, that means I'm solving for time. To the nearest tenth of a year, will her investment take to reach 5,000? So we want our A to be 5,000 now. And I'm solving for T. All right, so I'm going to divide both sides by 2,000. So 5,000 divided by 2,000 is 2.5 equals 1.02 to the 2t power. Log both sides, so it's log 2.5. Exponent goes in front, 2t log 1.02. Divide by log 1.02. So type that in, log 2.5 divided by log 1.02. So we get 46.27 116,989 equals 2t. Divide by 2. So hit divide by 2 on your calculator. It's going to take 23.1 because it says round to the nearest tenth. So it's going to take 23.1 years. Okay, so that's it, and I'll see you guys in class tomorrow. Good luck studying.